a lot actually happened in this chapter, but I really enjoyed the match between Shikamaru and Tsuchi. And then, of course, now we see who Naruto is going to fight.
Naruto, number 74, the 6th round match. And then...
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and, of course, battle-heavy tale of Naruto. Now, the last chapter, of course, saw us with Tenten just being handily defeated and pretty much just getting her ass handed to her in the second sort of girl power-ish type match, I guess you would have going on there. And then in this chapter, that's where things left off, of course, and things wind up picking up right over here. Tamari obviously beat her very easily. And we wind up getting a match between Shikamaru and was it Shuchi? I believe it was Suchi or Shuchi. It's the other one from the Village of Sound, the other one that's there, and it's actually a female. And so anyway, that battle winds up starting over here, and that huge thing at the end of it too. That's Tamari's Tamari, whatever her name is. That's like her fan weapon thing. Because I saw this like sort of black post almost it looked like that Tenten was laying up over. So actually when it starts off over here before the next match starts up between Shikamaru and Tsuchi, we wind up getting pretty much just a total sign of disrespect, and shows us kind of the lowlifes, I guess that you would say, that come from the Village of Sand. It winds up actually going and taking Tenten's body and just whipping it towards Lee, and Lee catches her and this and that. And she's just trying to be an asshole and just get a rise out of Lee, And there's no need when you're in a controlled environment like this where you're having these battles and these one-on-one battles with all these rules and regulations to act like a total just douchey type dick, right? But she does. Anyway. And that's how it is. Lee winds up going to actually come at her with one of his hurricane moves or whatever, right? And she actually goes and catches his leg. She's like, "You're not as fast as you think you are." Anyway, the whole thing winds up getting shut down. Gaara tells her to stop. You've already won. Stop toying around with them. And the thing about it is that she goes and just has some cocky moves to be made and everything else, or cocky words to say, that type of thing. But what I liked is that Guy, Lee's teacher, he goes and he says, "Just remember that there is a lot more strength within this boy than you would know," pointing to Lee over here. So basically, like, just watch out because you're fucked, and that's what I kind of liked about it. So, but anyway, the match winds up starting up, though, between Shikamaru and Tsuchi. And we see, and Shikamaru has obviously the power of the shadow, is able to actually use the shadows to his advantage to be able to grab onto people and things like that. And then we get, of course, Tsuchi. It seems like one of her powers or moves is that she's able to fire and control these needles, and she starts throwing these things, shooting these things at him, and some of them have bells on them, some of them don't. And he's basically just like, all right, so basically I'm supposed to go and, the ones with the bells, they make me use my ears and my hearing to dodge, and then the silent ones are the ones that are actually going to puncture or perforate me, He then goes and finds out that actually she's got like these strings on the actual bells, so she's actually able to pull the bells, and it looks like even turn and change the trajectory of these things. Nonetheless, though, the match still winds up happening and going through pretty quickly. Shikamaru, we find it just is just overmatched, obviously, for Tsuchi, and winds up actually using his shadows to his advantage. All of a sudden, she's held in place, and she's like, "What the hell is going on?" He is actually able to go and use his shadow to actually go and hold on to the strings that she has of those things that are attached to her, and is actually able to hold on to those to basically be able to hold her in place and then increase the size of his shadow. She didn't see the actual shadows that the strings were casting that they were coming down from, because they're so thin, the threads, right? But he's still able to go and manipulate and use that to his advantage. Doesn't matter what the size of the shadow's still there. So he goes and holds her in place. And then they wind up going in, and she's like, okay, and she's going to go and throw a shuriken at him, and he's going to pull one out and throw it, and they're both going to fire them at each other, and they're both going to, they're both basically locked into the same moveset now, because obviously he's kind of shadow cloning her and what she's doing, and obviously the movements are all mimicked. What doesn't happen, what's neat, is that he goes and dodges the shot from the shuriken, and she goes and leans back to dodge the shot from the shuriken, and then she doesn't take a shuriken to the face. However, she's close enough to the wall that she winds up knocking herself out by basically just doing this backbend and then smashing her head against the wall. It was a very neat, very quick, decisive, strategic victory, in the sense that he knew exactly what he was doing. He had all the preparation planned out, and it just like that, before you know it, it was over. And that's what happens if you size up your opponent right, and that's why paying attention to what your opponents are doing in the previous matches and things like that, and having a lot of study and exam go into this, that's the more important thing than shooting off your mouth and trying to talk big. People who wind up talking big for the most part, those that just have that big loud voice, and you even see that a lot in this community, those that talk a big game generally are the weakest ones. It's just the truth. It's because if you're going and you're having to tell me about what you're going to do, you probably can't do it. Because if you can do something and you have the strength of will and conviction, or you've beat that person, your opponent, on speed or skill or whatever, you don't need to tell them about it. You just need to bring it and show them. And that's why they say things like actions speak louder than words. And they do, because you get so many people that go and they just talk a big game, whereas I like this because for the most part, Shikamaru was very humble about it and was like, hey, listen, I got the abilities. I played everything out, but he didn't go and rub it in anybody's face afterwards. He explained exactly what happened, and hey, listen, our moves were locked into mimicking each other and obviously having the same ones. However, I knew where your position was and was aware of that, and that's how I took you out. And I thought that was really cool, you know, the way it was done. So the whole fight we just played out very well. And even though it was very quick and it was over, it's probably one of my favorite ones thus far in the actual, you know, preliminaries, I guess you would call it, you know, before round 3. So then we wind up finding out that the next one that's up over here and about and ready to go is going to be none other than our boy Naruto versus Kiba, and of course his dog, his trusty faithful dog Akamaru, which kind of reminds me of like a little version of Clifford the Big Red Dog. He's not big. I don't know if he's red, because clearly the black and white, of course, is in, you know, well, the manga, of course, is in black and white. But sorry, I've been doing a lot of these today, so it just, the throat gets a little parched, you know, get a little dry, and I don't want that to come across in my voice that comes out, you know. So, but anyway, so those two are going to face off against one another. Prior to him going out there, though, and even prior to the selection of Naruto being the next one, Sakura goes, and it's great. She kind of goes and puts Naruto. It doesn't put him in his place. She eggs him on. She thanks him for basically, she goes, that annoying just sort of voice of yours, you know, egging me on is what really helped to break me free from Ino's hold, you know, and be able to get out of there. And obviously, she didn't win the fight, but she didn't lose it either. It was a draw. It was a tie. And Naruto is like, yeah, you're welcome. You know, I helped. I helped so you could kick her butt, or I put you in the position to kick her butt, whatever. So then she goes and throws it right back at Naruto, and she goes, now make sure that you don't lose in your match over there, because otherwise you'll never live it down with Sasuke over there, and you'll never have any chance of this and that, and you'll end up losing respect of all men, you know, in general. So she flips the script on him, and I thought that was really cool. So we know that up next is going to be our boy Naruto, and of course Kiba and his dog and whatnot. He's like, that's cool, we got this one. And everybody's like shitting bricks, because now that it's getting down to like the last 6 or 8 or whatever, everybody's just basically like, I don't care who I face, I just don't want to face that crazy dude from the Sand Village, you know? We don't want to fuck with Gaara, right? So, and of course the Sound Ninja too, there's only one of them left as well. The other two have been taken out and handily defeated. Anyways, so that is how the chapter winds up ending off, of course, with Naruto going like, hey, yeah, I'm going to put on a show for you guys, you know, and that's pretty much what he says at the end of it over here, is like, yeah, I'm going to take out my opponents, I'm going to kick some ass, like, that's just the Naruto way. He comes out and he's just, of course, you know, big in self-confidence. Well, it's about time, thanks for being patient, everyone, I'm going to make this worth your wait, right? And Kiba's like, oh, this is cool. He's just like, oh, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, man, we could take this guy, Akamaru, you know, and then the dog, woof. So I just thought it was great to go and see that, how it's going to work out, you know. And then you get this little panel at the end with Lee, and he's just like, if I'm not next, that'll mean Sakura will never love me. And it's just kind of funny to see his little goofy pining over a girl type of thing. And I don't even know what the deal is anyway. Like, I know that, granted, these are only 12 and 13-year-old kids for the most part at this point, but Sakura's not even drawn in, like, a very feminine way. I mean, the only reason you can even tell she's female is because she has longer hair. I mean, to me, it's, you know... and some of the characters, I think, just because their age, they're not drawn in any type of, like, dramatic or, like, sexy type of way or anything like that, you know, where they have any type of curvature or look to them that differentiates them from the boy counterparts, you know. So, anyways, but I guess it's just to kind of put in some of that little teen angst and love and all that sort of thing. So, but that's how that one ends off. And that's the end of the chapter. My chapter question for you, brothers and sisters, is really what were your thoughts on the fight between Shikamaru and Tsuchi, I believe her name is. Just wanted to know what your thoughts are, obviously, on just how he used his powers. And then, of course, too, on him just being somewhat humble about it and not being boastful or loud and having to tell everybody how good he was or what he was going to do. Really just coming in there, taking care of his business, and then walking away. Not trying to show anybody up, not trying to rub anybody's face in it. Just, hey, simple as that. You did this. It equaled this, and that's where we are right now. Let me know what your thoughts are on that fight in the comments down below. Feel free to hit those thumbs up, the like button if you should feel that I deserve it. And of course subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
Please subscribe to my other channels and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram too.